It's National Accessibility Week, and to celebrate, we're launching our new weekly vlog. In this vlog, I will talk about a variety of disability related issues. Perhaps it'll be something that I saw in the news or read online. Maybe I'll be talking about my own experiences or just something that's important to me. However, unlike the weekly disability series, this vlog is going to be unscripted and unedited. So I apologize in advance if I say anything that offends you. That's not my intention. My intention is actually to start a discussion. So if you disagree with anything that I say, please let me know. This week's topic in the disability series, which will be released on Thursday, is about accessible transportation. So in light of that, I wanted to talk a little bit about air travel, specifically my experiences as a person with a disability traveling on a plane. Now, before we go anywhere, I want to stress that I'm talking about my experiences, and they don't necessarily reflect the experiences of other people with disabilities. Some people with disabilities have had very positive experiences with air travel and they enjoy it. Other people with disabilities have had negative experiences and don't enjoy it very much. I fall into the latter category, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why. So first I want to talk a little bit about the process of boarding. Now, when I travel on a plane, I arrive at the airport and go through the check-in process and go through security just like everybody else. I stay in my wheelchair until I arrive at the gate. Now, this is where things are a little bit different. When you're in a wheelchair, you're expected to board the plane before everyone else. They usually ask that you're ready to board half an hour in advance. So you arrive at the gate and you drive or wheel your chair all the way to the end of the gate where you board the plane. And your wheelchair can't fit in the main cabin of the plane, so they actually have to put it down in the luggage hold. So what they do is they transfer you out of your wheelchair into a small aisle chair, which they call either a Lincoln chair or a Washington chair. Just to give you an idea of how small this chair is, it's probably big enough for me to fit one of my butt cheeks on. It's very small. They'll strap you in with 3 or 4 straps, nice and tight. I call it the straitjacket with wheels, and then they wheel you down the aisle. It's very uncomfortable. They wheel you down the aisle until they get you to your seat, and then they'll transfer you out of this aisle chair into the airplane seat. It's a very difficult and uncomfortable process, especially for someone like me who has limited mobility. Now, if you're lucky, you'll get something called the Eagle Lift. The process is pretty much the same, but the Eagle Lift, which is the device that lifts you right out of the chair, will lift you out of your chair and then you're wheeled down the aisle to your seat. And for someone like me with limited mobility, this is a lot easier. So we always request it. Usually we get it, but there have been some instances where we have been unable to use it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The last time I traveled with Air Canada was probably about 4 years ago. I was traveling to Vancouver for a conference. Now, when we booked the trip, which we booked months in advance, we requested the lift. We went through a flight travel agency called Flight Center in Toronto, and the man that we dealt with specialized in traveling with disabilities. So we had everything set up with the Eagle Lift well in advance. Now, this particular day, I believe we were on layover in, I think it was Toronto, and we were promised the lift. Now, we were ready to board the plane half an hour early, just like we were supposed to, but it was actually the Air Canada staff that was not ready. And so because of that, we did not board on time and it held up the whole flight. In addition to that, they told us that the Eagle Lift was unavailable and kept coming up with excuses as to why they couldn't use it, that it was, condemned or people didn't know how to use it or it was being used by another flight. It was excuse after excuse. And it got so bad that I was basically in tears from how stressed I was. And that was when I made the decision right there that I was never going to be traveling on Air Canada again. And that's when we decided we'd only ever travel on WestJet, which is the airline that we've traveled on since. We've traveled on WestJet twice since then. Most recently was in November when I flew to Ottawa for a National Youth Accessibility Forum. for the Canadians with Disabilities Act that the federal government is currently developing. Now, because we were flying to Ottawa, we weren't going on a regular Boeing. We were actually flying on a Bombardier propeller plane. So when I boarded the plane in Halifax, we were boarding on the tarmac, and we were able to use the Eagle lift. It was a different experience, but it went very smoothly, and the WestJet employees were very accommodating and compassionate to our needs, which I cannot say the same about Air Canada. Some people like Air Canada, but my experiences have been very negative. Now, when we got to Ottawa and we unboarded, we were unboarding at the gate, and the plane that we were using, the door, when it was at the gate, wasn't tall enough to use the Eagle lift. So we were unable to use it when we got off the plane, which made things difficult. But again, the WestJet staff was very accommodating, and they made an otherwise difficult situation a lot easier. However, one of the WestJet employees that was traveling with us that day, one of the crew members, took some time out of her busy day later on to see if there was a way that she could fit the lift on the plane in Ottawa. Now, she was unsuccessful, but the fact that she took the time out of her busy schedule to do that shows just how much WestJet really cares about their passengers. Later on, when we were leaving Ottawa, a couple of days later, we met up with another one of the crew members. It was a different crew member, but she told us that she had rescheduled her schedule so that she would be there when we boarded the plane in Ottawa to go home, because she understood the boarding process from when we boarded in Halifax. This was a woman that we had only met just a few days prior, who completely rearranged her schedule so that she could help two almost strangers. That just shows you how much more accommodating the WestJet staff is than Air Canada. We never had an experience like that when we traveled with Air Canada. Like I said, maybe some people have, but I can't say the same for myself. In the end, it was a very successful trip. It didn't go the way we expected, never does, but it was very successful. And any trip that you can come home safely from is a successful trip. And because of WestJet, they ensured that that is what the end result was, that we made it home safely. The point that I'm really trying to make here is that air travel sucks for everybody, whether you're in a wheelchair or not. But I guess I can take, pride at least and be happy, at least knowing that I wasn't traveling with United, because nobody wants to go through that. So basically, that's what I wanted to talk about today, was just my experiences with air travel. And like I said, my experiences aren't the same as everyone else with a disability, but I'm glad that you watched this, and I hope that you enjoyed it and learned something. Obviously, air traveling isn't the most accessible means of transportation for someone with a disability, but there is legislation being developed to help change that. And I urge you guys to check out something called All Wheels Up. They're an American organization that's fighting to make planes more accessible so that people can take their wheelchairs right on the plane instead of having to put it in the cargo hold. So I encourage you to check that out. And I believe it's just allwheelsup.org, so check them out. And tune in for our disability series video on Thursday. We're moving those videos from Wednesday to Thursday, so it'll be a vlog every Tuesday and a regular video every Thursday. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys on Thursday.